this. Okay, here we go. The super expensive NIKKOR 200mm f4. I haven't had my hands on this lens. I've used it 5 times. I haven't had my hands on it in over a year. And the reason I didn't buy it earlier, even though I've been wanting it this whole time, is because I got so many macro lenses. I got 60mm macro, 105, not the newest 105, which is kind of abysmal, 60mm macro, which is too short, but the 100mm Takina does come with its own little case, which is kind of absurd. I mean, it's a big, heavy-ass lens, but, you know, it doesn't need this sort of case. These sort of cases are for huge-ass lenses. One pisser about this lens, well, actually a couple, is that it's $1,800. They've already discontinued this lens before, and then they kind of let it slip through again. It's probably going to be discontinued soon. Two pissers about this lens, $1,800. Now it's all metal, it's made in Japan, it's very heavy, 42 ounces, 13 elements in 9 groups, I believe. Anyways, 13 elements. And secondly, it should come with a damn lens hood. You got to buy that separately for $47, which is lame. The images from this lens, I mean, I've known that ever since I used it first, are absolutely incredible. I mean, is it better than the Takina 100mm? I hear it is. Yeah, it is. Radically so? No, not really. It is a D-series screw drive. One of the failings on these type of lenses is that this manual/automatic switch, a lot of people actually turn this thing without pressing in the silver button. When it does, it causes a torque compression right here, and they always crack right along the screw. I know one thing for certain, and Nikon's probably going to come out with a replacement for this lens. This is a technical lens, and the replacement for this lens will be plastic and made in China and be shittier than this. The thing is, though, for macro lenses, I mean, they don't have to be fast. Most macro photography is manual focus anyway. By the way, using this in manual focus is an absolute dreamboat. All the other lenses I had before were actually well used. This is a new one, and it's just smooth and buttery and silky to use. Like, for example, the working distance on a 60mm Micro-Nikkor is at 1:1 rate, reproduction rate is 8.6 inches. The 105mm 2.8 Nikkor at 1:1 is 12 inches. Okay, with this lens, it's 19.2 inches. And really important thing in macro photography, especially when you're shooting bugs, importantly, is that you are outside of their danger zone. On most macro lenses, like if this is a bug, you gotta stick the lens right up here, and the bug can see that, and he flies away, right? The great thing about this is at 19.2 inches, I'm able to go beep, 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 and back way the hell up here, be outside of the bubble zone of causing fear in any animal or any insect, and actually able to get a shot. Secondly, since most macro photography is shoving the lens up the ass of your subject, that creates an issue. It's like, how do I drop lighting in here? I've already got the lens shoved up the ass of my subject. You know, back here, even though I don't use a speed light on a hot shoe, definitely because that's shitty lighting. I mean, with this lens at 19.2 inches, I mean, all I have to do is just tilt the flash head down a little bit, which is native for Nikon speed lights, and you could just use that at the working distance of this lens, so that's very nice. Also, too, very, very importantly, is that gives you the ability to use autofocus assist, which is always in it, because the depth of field, even at like f8 and f11, the depth of field is really, really shallow on macro photography. And what that does is, especially when it comes to bugs, like, well, it's nice and sunny outside, I shouldn't have any issues with autofocus. Yeah, maybe you probably will. Also, too, that's another thing that's a benefit about this, is when you're backed up, you're not casting a shadow, usually off the subject that you're shooting outside, like insects, bugs, whatever sort of things that you're taking a shot of really close. And therefore you're not casting a shadow, which means you don't need autofocus assist, because a lot of times outdoors you got to get so close, like a little worm or a bug on a leaf. You're casting a shadow, then you have autofocus assist problems. And when you have autofocus assist problems, since your depth of field is so damn shallow, then you end up with your subject not exactly in focus. I keep getting all these texts. You know, one thing that actually pisses me off the most is getting text messages. I hate it when my phone goes bing, bing. I hate that shit. Anybody else out there that wants to text message me, here's my tip to you. Never text message me. Also, benefit or detraction, depending on how you look at it. At 200mm, if you frame the subject the same, you do get some very, very beautiful and interesting compression. The bokeh on the lens is quite nice. Actually, it's better than quite nice. It's certainly better than the Takina. It's certainly a lot better than the 60mm. It's certainly a lot better than the 105mm Nikkor is. So the compression and the bokeh on this lens are nice, and that's important in macro photography because usually you're working in close working distances with shitty backgrounds. The more you get, people think, well, f4, it's not very fast of a lens. It's like, well, I wouldn't want to use this lens at f4 because at f4 your depth of field is like, there's your depth of field. This also makes a really nice portrait lens. It's not simply for macro photography, however, that's what anybody should buy it for. It does come with a nice tripod collar, non-removable tripod collar. It is very heavy at 42 ounces. I am pissed at the fact. How much overpriced is this lens at $1,800? You can usually find them used for like $1,100, which is more than fair. This lens is only going to go up and up in price because they are going to discontinue this lens. This lens should be priced new around $1,600. Really that high? Yeah, it's all metal. It's made in Japan. This is a high precision technical lens, and it's worth every penny, actually, even at $1,800 of what it costs. So, like 60mm versus 105 versus 200mm at 1-to-1 reproduction rate, you're talking 8.6 inches versus 8.6 inches versus 105mm, which is at 12 inches. And this lens, beep, 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 19.2 inches. 8.6, yeah, 12 inches and 19.2, so it makes a serious benefit in having a long macro lens. Bigger's better, right? Wow, chicka bow wow, chicka bow wow. I've had too much caffeine today. So that's it. This lens, they discontinued it before and they brought it back out again. I mean, how much longer they're going to keep doing that is a very good question. There's actually nobody on earth other than somebody that works at Nikon, and they'll never talk, as far as how much longer this lens is going to be out there. I'm guessing probably not that much longer, but I could certainly be wrong on this. This is one lens that's a total mystery. I don't really think they're going to keep making it that much longer. It is actually the production cost because it's made in Japan, it's all metal, it's built like a tank. I mean, it's absolutely a brick outhouse. It's tougher than woodpecker lips. This lens is the tits. I'm actually so happy I finally got one. So happy. How happy are you about this lens? I'm like, yee! He's crazy. I am pissed at the fact that it's $1,800, so considering it's all metal made in Japan, but I don't like pissed about the fact that it should come with its own damn lens hood, but you gotta buy it separately for $47. Which I could have used an off-brand lens hood. I mean, it's only 62mm filter, so I could have bought like a cheap Chinese knockoff lens hood for it. No issues at all. But that's it. That's the lowdown on the 200mm Nikkor. You gotta be careful on this lens, and lenses like this that have the manual/automatic switch are professional lenses because you do have to remember to not have this thing locked in manual with your camera and automatic because this lens will not drive. You can't also do, you see, there's no manual override on this. When it's an automatic, it's automatic only. When it's in manual, it's manual only. You cannot like lock this, right now it's in manual focus. You can't lock this onto your camera and hit the autofocus with the lens locked in manual, because then that's bad news. That's like pressing on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. Your car don't like that. That causes damage. And people have actually burned out their autofocus motors on their cameras by having the lens locked in manual on a lens like this. This is a D series of screw drive lens. As you can see right here, there's a screw slot. There's no internal motor. This is one precision Rolex of a lens. Actually looking at the rear element and the rectangular framing of the projection off the rear. Oh, I love lenses like this. I have flashbacks to like high quality. I think of like Japan and the high quality samurai swords and ultra fine Japanese precision. Hey! I love lenses like this. Love it. So that's it. That's the lowdown 200mm f4 Micro-Nikkor. Been taking a bunch of pictures of various things, and I've used this lens before, but it's been over a year, so I knew I wanted it the whole time. I just procrastinated because I got so many other damn macro lenses, but not which are 200mm. That's a serious benefit of being able to back the hell up off of your subject for macro photography. as I already pointed out. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you can drop a buck or two. Tell me to jump off a cliff, whatever makes you happy. Hasta luego, dos vidania, paka y увидимся. That's all today from El Jefe or El Gordo, depending on what you want. Probably people say El Gordo, right? I say El Jefe. Thanks. Catch you later. Bye.